What up? Today, I want to talk about something that most NBA fans have probably heard about at this point. And those are the comments made by Noah Lyles, who is an Olympic track athlete from the United States. And he's a very successful track athlete. And he's had quite a few comments now about the NBA and its players, and I don't get what he's trying to do. He's just kind of coming off like he's jealous of NBA players. It's a very weird thing. I feel like there's some sort of like insecurity he's got that's getting unbuttoned right now, and this has been going on since last year. So let me take you guys back. So last year in August, so basically a year ago, he was talking to the press, and he brought up that this is a quote. He said to the press, "You know the thing that hurts me the most?" And then he goes, "It's that I have to watch the NBA Finals and they have world champion on their head, like on the hats they wear. World champion of what? The United States?" And that was his comment. So let me explain this to Noah and the rest of you that are listening. It's obviously clear that the NBA is not, you're not the world champion, quote unquote, if you win the NBA, because you're not competing with teams from around the world. You're competing with teams in the US and Canada, right? And maybe in the future we'll have a team in Mexico, who knows, right? But that's not what their coining of world champion means. What they're saying is the NBA is the best basketball league in the world. There are hundreds at this point, well, maybe not hundreds because there's only 450 players in the NBA, but there's probably a solid percentage of the league now that is made up of non-US players from Canada, from Spain, France, Germany, across Asia, Africa, Australia. It's a very global game now, and the game of basketball has just become so global because of these stars coming from their respective countries to come and play in the league. So because of this, having international stars leaving their country to come to the NBA, for one, because they're probably going to make the most money, and they're going to make the most money not just from their contract, but from the exposure and the endorsements and all of that stuff. So the NBA will continue to reign supreme as the best league for basketball in the world until things change. And I will say that, in recent times, the gap between the NBA and the rest of the leagues around the world it's gotten a little bit smaller, but it's still quite a large gap. But you have, great, Euro leagues in Europe, obviously. You have leagues in Africa. You have, leagues in the UK. You have leagues in Australia. So you got leagues in Russia and Israel. You have leagues all over the place. And people are getting paid real money to go over there and play. But until such a time where there's a league that is getting more exposure and coverage than the NBA and has a wider array of players from a diverse set of countries and places around the world, the NBA will be the best basketball league in the world. So when you win the NBA Finals, it is safe to say that that is the best team in the world because it's composed of a small pool of the bigger pool of the greatest players in the world that are playing in the NBA. So that's what it means to be a world champion in the NBA. Obviously, that's different than being an Olympic champion or an Olympic gold medalist, but I don't think it's a comment to harp on. Like, I just don't think like, why is this guy getting mad about this, right? Like, why is he so upset that someone else is having success? Like, I just don't understand that. Like, you're a track athlete, which is very difficult in its own right, but you don't know what it's like to be a professional basketball player. So how can you speak on this, and how are you going to insult guys that are putting their, heart and soul into the game to make it to the NBA finals and win? And you're just going to say, "Oh, well, they're not world champions, blah blah whatever." Like, that's, come on, man. Like, that's bullshit. Like, why are you trying to, what are you trying to start, right? So that's kind of my gripe, is I'm like, this is just like he's making his own self look bad, and I don't know why he's doing that. But so that was what kind of started this whole beef, right, between certain NBA players and Noah Lyles. So now, with the Olympics, just having concluded, there's come to light that there was another comment made. I'm not exactly sure what the timing was, but apparently Noah Lyles was invited to an Anthony Edwards shoe release event, and he was apparently offended, Noah Lyles was offended that Adidas invited him to this event because he said, quote unquote, "You want to invite me to an event for a man who has not even been to an NBA finals in a sport you don't even care about, and you're giving him a shoe." So, like, what the dude? Like, first of all, you came out last year and you were saying that the NBA finals is basically like, not, it's not a measure of winning, basically. It's not a good enough measure of winning because, they shouldn't be world champions. And now you're saying that that's a qualifier for you to go to his shoe release? Like, what the are you on, bro? Like, that's crazy. Like, and now he's trying to backpedal and be like, "Oh, that was a rumor. This didn't happen," whatever. I don't know. I'm going to, based on the stuff that he said in the past and the stuff that I've seen him say, because I saw him say the NBA Finals comment, I don't really know if this is it feels like he's backtracking. And I just don't get it. Like, why you got to be jealous? Did you have a rough time with the basketball team when you were in high school? Like, did one of the basketball team members take your girlfriend? What's going on? And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't understand why you're hating on people for no reason. And you're picking it doesn't seem like you're hating on other people in, other sports. You're just hating on basketball players. So what did basketball players do to you that you have to be all salty about it? So I just don't get it. But it's just Anthony Edwards is younger than this guy too. Anthony Edwards is at least 3 years younger than this guy, and you're clowning him because he hasn't made it to an NBA Finals. Like Anthony Edwards was the number 1 overall pick 4 years ago. 4 years ago. So to now be at the point where he just reached the Western Conference Finals in his 4th season, that's pretty impressive. So I would put my bet on that he's probably going to win an NBA championship, probably in the next 5 years. And if it's not in the next 5 years, I would be highly certain that he's probably going to win one before he retires. But yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, and I kind of wanted to just talk about this because I think it's a overall lesson for, people, and that, you're going to look better if you don't hate on other people. And by hating on other people that aren't even in your sport is just it's just kind of corny. It just seems like you're trying to get attention, and this guy doesn't need to get attention. I get it. It's when you're in the Olympics and you are doing a sport that's really, really only covered in the Olympics. You really only get attention every, couple of years when, the Olympic trials come back and then the actual Olympic Games starts. So, maybe he's just trying to get more attention. He thinks he needs more attention than what he's getting, but you got to figure out a better way to generate that, because this attention is not going to last. You commenting on other people negatively and doing things like that is not going to last. People will talk about it for a little bit, but eventually that's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. So what I would advise for everybody is, if you want to get attention, you have to work for it in a good way. And you also shouldn't strive to get attention. You should strive to accomplish your goals. And when you accomplish those goals, you will get the attention that you are worthy of, right? But you should let the work speak for itself. And when you put in the work, good things will happen. You shouldn't try to make a name for yourself by, trying to drag other people down because you feel like you need more attention, right? And I know that's, can be ironic coming from someone who talks about basketball players and critiques them and stuff like that. But like, for me personally, it's not like I'm not trying to hate on anybody or do anything like that. I'm just speaking my mind. Speaking my mind and telling you guys how I feel about the NBA, because I'm such a longtime NBA fan and I love basketball so much that the truth that I feel is going to come out. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that I'm right. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It just means that I'm speaking my mind and I'm giving you guys my most authentic thoughts on the matter. But when you're going to the media or being asked by the media or basically instigating the media and trying to get them to get a statement or give them a statement, you're doing a little bit more than just speaking your mind on a different platform. And because they're going to run with that. So, no Lyles, my advice is, similar advice that I would give to somebody like Dylan Brooks, but I don't know how you feel about him because he plays in the NBA. I would suggest that you let the work speak for itself. And, certainly a lot of it already has. You're a great athlete. You're a great track star. I will give you that title, track star, because you are very popular. You're very good at what you do. But just because you're good at what you do doesn't mean that you need to have arrogance and try to tear other people down that haven't even, conversed with you or, brought the subject to you. You brought the subject to them. So that's it, Lesson to everybody is don't hate on people, Put your best foot forward and preach positivity. You don't need to diminish someone else's accomplishments to boost up your own, because that'll never work. Peace.